I'm Susie Dingle, and today I'll be going around my property starting with the Woodland Garden right here to show you some of the annuals that I let go to seed around my property. They come up year after year and it's such a delight to have them. This is the perfect time of the year, late summer, early fall, to be doing this because most of them, I would say all of the ones I grow, have already set their seed and their seed heads are just ready to be dispersed. They can do it on their own, but oftentimes they'll go around and help distribute them, especially into new areas where I want them to grow. All right, well, let's go check out the seeds and the annual flowers. Down in this tapestry of autumn leaves and ground covers are the seeds of forget-me-nots. They grow early in the spring and then set seed. The plants are really small, and so when they disappear and leaving their seeds behind, it's just very hard to see any remnant of them. The Woodland Garden is also home to a plethora of Columbine. They come in all different colors and types, and I really don't know what I'm going to see the following year because the seeds or the flowers cross with each other and create any number of different types of flowers. But I will say that I have never been disappointed, and I am always completely delighted to welcome whatever shows up the following spring. These are the seed heads of Columbine, and I'm going to scatter them around this area. How I do this is by just shaking them around like that. Sometimes I'll break them off or cut them off and take them to other parts of the garden. This is Feverfew, a tiny little daisy-like flower, and it pops up all over my property between early spring and into fall. It does it continuously, and I don't have to do anything to try and harvest the seeds and spread it around. It does it naturally. In fact, the seeds are a little bit difficult to harvest because they're so small, and it does such a marvelous job of seeding itself all over. Don't have to do anything to it. Here you can see the new Feverfew flowers that are coming up, and there's an old plant that was had bloomed out some time ago. In there are some seeds somewhere in there. This is the aging flower of a calendula, and their seeds are very easy to harvest. They're big, and they hang on there to the developing seed head for a very long time. This is a dried seed stalk of a foxglove, And in these little seed heads right here are some very, very small seeds. So tiny. As a matter of fact, you can see them raining down. So I will just take this entire stalk, break it off, and then go shake it around the area where I'd like to have more foxgloves. I let the Digitalis, the foxglove, grow all around my property, and it is in different colors of purple and white, and even a few that come up pink. These are borage flowers. And on this particular plant, it is almost completely done with flowering, but it has developed a lot of seeds and seed heads. Oh, there's some more buds forming. That's kind of fun. But the seeds are fairly large and fairly easy to harvest, but you do have to work through a lot of this fuzzy material to get them. Borage is another one of those annuals that has no problem seeding itself. Just does it on its own. There's a seed that's developing. California poppies are very easy to grow from seed, and there are several different colors on my property, white and a salmony color. You want to harvest them or move them around your property when they are this straw color. The pod is like that, and you can see it's already split, so it should be very easy to get those little seeds out. You don't want to harvest them when they are green like this. They are very immature and they will not grow. These are Snapdragons, and they are considered an annual in the Pacific Northwest. I've been very lucky, actually, with having them come back from the actual plants, or even with having them seed on their own. I have been cutting these back throughout the summer so that I'd continue to get blooms, but now that it's going toward the fall, I let some of them go to seed. This crunchy little seed pod. And there are the tiny little seeds. I'd like to give an honorable mention to the chive plant. Now this isn't an annual, this will keep growing, but whenever I have these seed heads left over, I like to sprinkle them around because they need to be fresh, to be planted fresh in order to take and turn into a plant. Chives like to be planted 1/4 of an inch to even 1/2 an inch deep, so that's why they normally don't come up for me when I sprinkle them on the ground. But these are pots of chives that I planted last year. I took the fresh seed right in the fall this time of the year and planted them about 1/4 of an inch deep, and you can see how nice they are and thick. I will now be separating these out so that I can plant them individually come this fall or even next spring. If you're wondering why I have little twigs in these pots, these are left over from when I first planted the seeds and I was waiting for them to come up.
This is how I protect against cats and other animals getting into the pots. I just load them up with sticks and cross them over each other so the animals don't dig in the pots. Nasturtium is another flower that occasionally comes back from seed. They do need to be planted under the soil, so that's why they don't always come back. If they just fall on the top of the ground, well, you know, it's just pure luck if they get covered up with something. So that's why I collect them, and then we'll plant them the following year. Here's a green immature seed head. Actually, there's a few seeds in there, and that's coming along. They aren't mature yet enough to harvest, but down here I'll show you some of the seeds that I harvested last year. And you can see how they look like little, almost like little walnuts or brains or something. Fun little seed, very big. Great seed for planting with children. Easy to handle. With all of these flowers, you want to consider which ones really do need to be out in the cold over the winter. Sometimes they need cold, or they just need some what's called scarification. They just need to be roughed up a little bit in order to germinate. Or they need to have the right, conditions as far as moisture and so on and so forth. So just think about that. Remember too, you can simply harvest these seeds and then save them for the following year, as long as you create conditions that will help the seeds germinate. That's always fun to do, to make sure that you have more of your favorite annuals.
Thanks for tuning in today, and until next time, keep dreaming in the garden.